Today we're going to be looking at ethical issues. So ethics means the rules of what's right and wrong. This is a very opinionated topic, but sometimes some of the bigger things that you can talk about come from cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, and general people's own thought on a matter. So this topic is always based around technology and the ethics of using technology. And it's about how we believe it to be right or wrong in using technology in a certain way. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. You could be asked anything about this topic, absolutely anything. So you've got to be able to just come up with reasons around it. But generally, with a bit of common sense, it's quite easy to come up with different things to talk about in it. And as you'll see in a moment on the next slide, is that you are always given some things to sort of base your answer around. You've just got to then be able to apply it. Here are some topics that are quite common with technology and could often be asked about in your exam. So cyberbullying and online messages is a big one. Privacy issues is another one that keeps going back to, and exposure to content, so what people are able to access and see when they're using the internet, for example. Other things that are common on an exam but are not necessarily a bad thing is about technology being a tool for learning, how it can be used in education and employment, and it's very common that technology is used for meeting other people nowadays. Now, I'm able to share these with you because these are from quite old past papers now. You may have even seen these yourselves already. But these are two previous questions on this topic. Each of these were worth 8 marks. And if you think roughly every 7 marks is another grade on your exam, this is a huge one. It's an extended writing task, this. So let's have a look at these two. This first question says, the use of digital technology in medicine is constantly evolving. Discuss the impact of digital technology on medicine, including diagnosing patients, treating patients, and storage of records. So what you've noticed straight away there is they've given you the 3 bullet points that they want you to focus your answer on. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't get marks if you wrote about something different that you thought was very relevant, but it's just so easy to stick to these 3 bullet points. And for the examiner, they will be given a mark scheme that are based on those bullet points. So it's always wise to stick to the bullet points that you're given in your exam. Another example question, and I've shared these with you so that you can have a little go at these questions if you wanted to. Social networking websites use AI to monitor posts from users. AI is a massive topic at the moment. I think it's very likely it could be on this year's exam, but it is a complete guess. So discuss the positive and negative uses of AI by social networking websites, including legal issues, ethical issues, privacy issues. 3 huge bullet points that we keep coming back to in this topic. Looking at that first question with the impact of digital technology on medicine, let's have a look at the mark scheme of that so we can see what we're looking for with these topics. Now, we're only going to look at the top mark scheme because obviously we're aiming for top marks on these exams. So the candidate demonstrates thorough knowledge and understanding of a wide range of considerations in relation to the question. The material is generally accurate and detailed. So as long as you're sticking to those bullet points, you are talking about the right things. So I wouldn't recommend deviating away from the bullet points unless you are 100% confident that it is a solid answer. The candidate is able to apply their knowledge and understanding directly and consistently to the context provided. So we were given a little scenario at the beginning of this question talking about how medicine is evolving. So you need to be able to talk about that in your answer. It shows that you've read the question. Evidence and examples will be explicitly relevant to the explanation. So if you're waffling on for ages about something that's not even relevant, then you're wasting your time. Now, there was a command word at the beginning of this question. It was discuss. Now, when you see the word discuss, you need to be able to weigh up both sides of the argument. If you're arguing totally for something and never against, or vice versa, you won't fit into this top category. It is one of the most important things that will get you your top marks in these kind of answers. Now, this is how I think you should approach one of these questions. At the back of your exam paper, there is extra additional pages. Now, these don't have to be marked. You can use these to just jot your ideas down, and it's especially important when you're going to start a huge answer like one of these. The best way to do it is get the main topic as a spider diagram in the middle. The 3 bullet points that it provided to you, you can then write around your spider diagram. And then all you'd need to do is come up with a couple of points about each of those that they've given you. So that's what you're going to base your answer on. So for this question about the technology in medicine, for diagnosing patients, I went for you could search records faster, it's more accurate, but it may miss symptoms or suggest incorrect results. So I've got things there for both sides of the argument. I could get some marks for saying that it's really fast to search records, which would save people time. But then I could also discuss the opposite of why it's not good by saying it may miss symptoms or suggest incorrect results. So this is already a solid part of my answer. However, that's only talking about the diagnosing patients part of it. So then I would move on to the next one, which is the storage of records. Overall, you would then have a conclusion to talk about why you think technology is either good or bad for the evolution of medicine. So if you nail all of these points and you've talked about the 3 bullet points, you've given an argument for and against with a conclusion, you've got the perfect answer and you've officially gone up an entire grade on that paper. So I've come up with a question for you to give it a go. I think you should pause the video and write down an extended answer like we discussed. Focus on the bullet points, jot down your ideas first as a little spider diagram. It'll be really good practice for the real thing. So the question is, discuss the ethical and legal concerns of AI replacing human jobs, including job displacement, legal regulations, and the economic impact. If you think on your exam you should be aiming for 1 mark per minute, then to write your answer it should take roughly 8 minutes. To jot down your ideas for it, give yourself another 3 or 4 minutes. So what I've tried to do for the answers for this then, obviously you could have written about anything, so this is not an exhaustive list, but I want to go through some of the things that you could have written about if you couldn't really come up with any ideas on this one. So for the first one, for job displacement, you could have written about how AI automates jobs, reducing employment opportunities in certain industries. There's some ethical concerns over mass unemployment and economic inequality. It may affect low-skilled workers, increasing social divisions. And AI chatbots replacing customer service workers might reduce cashier jobs. But you could argue any of them for or against those points. So for example, the AI chatbot might get somebody faster customer service if there's not enough people that they can employ. It might get them an answer to what they need over the phone without even needing to speak to a human. Okay, so for the next one, legal regulations. So there's a debate over whether government should regulate AI in workplaces. As a possible solution, you could have AI taxation, or there could be employment laws that are protecting different workers. So the next bullet point was on economic impact. So AI increases efficiency, productivity, and lowers business costs. That's a definite argument for. There's potential to create new jobs in AI development and robotics. So lots of programming jobs that are going to become available to develop AI further. So as final points that you could have included your answer, so some ethical considerations. So should AI be limited if it improves efficiency but harms employment? Some people could argue that AI should assist humans rather than replace them. And finally, businesses prioritizing profit over ethical concerns about worker displacement. Now, as I said earlier, all of these are just ideas that you could have written about. It's not an overall list, but generally, as long as you're talking about the topic and those bullet points, you can almost guarantee that you've written enough for that point and you've got yourself some marks on that one. Okay, so that's it for this video. I'll see you next time.